All right, we're back working on our bot for the CodinGame Fall 2020 Challenge. I haven't done a whole lot on it yesterday, aside from what I did on stream. Just a quick recap. Let's bring this here. Let's see. My bot is pretty dumb at the moment. I am in Wood 1 League. Basically, it looks for any client orders that it can fulfill. If it is able to, it does. If it can't, and it does that in order of whichever one, looking at whichever one's the most lucrative first. And if it can't, then at the moment I've got to choose a random spell and cast it if it can. So I basically sort the spells. I filter them out. I filter out the spells that can't be cast right now, and I just choose one at random out of the ones that are left. And yeah, so as you can imagine, it's not doing all that great. Let's see. I am ranked 29 in Wood 1 League, so I'm just short probably of going up against the boss. Let's, oh, look at that, 26 now. Let's give it a try just for, I do win some of, actually let's play a new one. I do win some of the matches against the boss, but most of them I lose. All right, so you can see here, I'm just brewing stuff, creating a whole bunch of, oh, that's interesting. I ended up, what happened there? I transformed, oh yeah, okay. And okay, this is where I actually brewed something here, yeah. Here we go, 16 points. I'm behind, I'm just brewing, and now my inventory is full, which is why the witch isn't doing anything anymore, because I'm not choosing my spells smartly. Meanwhile, the boss is chugging along and he's brewing something else there. And then the game ends. Because the boss is not that smart either, right? He gets to a full inventory and then he's stuck. He can't brew anything and he can't cast any spells. But he has a bunch of high value, like his inventory is worth 10, right? As compared to mine, which is worth like 2. Which will be, so 18 should be my final score. Yeah, and 49 for the boss. So, all right, that's where I'm at right now. Now, I was doing some thinking yesterday as to how I should go about, choosing my spells. And one of the things I was thinking about is that I could keep my algorithm for choosing which client order I'm working on, which is it's a pretty simple algorithm. I just sort them in order of their rupee values and just pick whichever one is worth more. It's not that great because I'm not taking into account the cost, if you will, of brewing that potion. But anyways, it's a start. And then what I could do is so just pick a target and use some sort of maybe a breadth first search algorithm to essentially go through the possible spells um, and see which combination of spells of steps will bring me to having the inventory I need in order to brew the target potion. So that's one way to go about it. I think it would work pretty well. But then I got to thinking, if I'm going to get into like doing a breadth first search, we're just a short step away from maybe implementing something that's more like all game encompassing, where I take into account the entire state of the game and not just my inventory and the spells. And then I got to thinking maybe some sort of Monte Carlo tree search algorithm. That, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, what I decided to do, I was going to wait till Bronze League to actually build like a whole kind of local game engine, replicate the game engine. Um, but I think I started doing it right now because if I'm gonna get into the whole tree search and state search, and I need some functions that I'm gonna need anyways to build for replicating the game engine. Mainly, like what moves are available right now, how to apply moves to the state. Those are the main two really, and I guess did I win? Is the game over? Things like that. So I started doing that, and that's where we're at. Let's see. I'm doing a little bit of unit testing at the same time. Excuse me. As you can see, that's where I get my test coverage. This isn't covered because I'm lazy. I haven't written tests for those, but for this one I have here. Okay, so where was I? Apply brew. Okay. Oh yeah. So I started doing an apply action function, which takes the player ID and then action, and it's going to be just basically a switch case on the action type. And I had implemented the brew action. Now, okay, there's one thing I got to remember to do. I've modeled this so that apply action is kind of dumb. It takes for granted that the action you're supplying is valid, right? There's no validation happening inside of apply action, which is the way I want it because my hope is that I can use that function inside my tree search. And if I end up doing a bunch of validation at each step, that's just going to slow it way down. Um, Instead, I have a function that uh, generates a list of valid actions. So I'm going to take for granted that, you know, when I'm going to pass in an action to apply action, it'll come from that list of valid action. Now, if I was building the game for like human players and stuff, you would want that validation step. But for now, we're just going to bypass that. There is one thing though. I gotta think about is right. I have the concept of apply action, but I'm going to need to have the concept of turn basically as well. Once I've applied an action for both players, I need to do some updates to the state as well. For instance, if we're brewing, um, right now, as you can see, I'm updating the player's score with the action's price, which is the whatever the customer is paying to get the potion. Um, and I am removing the client order from the state, the game state at the bottom, right? There's always like 5 client orders. Um, and I've got it set up because right now the two witches can brew the same potion. So it's set up to not crash if ever for some reason, which A brews the potion, then I remove it from the state, and then which B brews the same potion. That's fine. It won't be in the array anymore, but that's cool. It won't blow up. um, what I do need, though, is a mechanism at the end once both witches have done their action and maybe brewed a potion, and that potion was removed from the client order list. I need to replenish that order list with, I'm guessing, some kind of. I'm going to look at the code from the referee that was supplied for this this challenge, but I'm guessing there's some sort of random generation algorithm they're using. So I can probably copy that and use that. Okay, so I think apply brew action is good. Did I forget anything? What happens when you brew? You need to update your inventory. Oh, which I'm not doing. Right. So that's one thing that you would need to do, right? State players. Let's take a look at my. Let's take a look at my. Am I missing something here? There's this, that. That's interesting. Trying to use Vim quite unsuccessfully. Well, I'm getting by. What's going on? Oh, I've got caps lock on. That's what's going on. There we go. Okay. Okay, so apply brew action takes the players. That's the action we're brewing. Uh, those are a bunch of other brews that are okay. So the game only has 5 so at a time. So that does make sense, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just delete this one, I guess. Doesn't make a difference for a test, but and I need to also delete this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this needs to go. X is the shortcut. Yeah. And now this is okay. That's my chosen action. That's the list of action, and I've included my chosen action in there. That's what should be left in our client order list once I've applied the action. That's the new state. That's the game I'm creating with the new state. That's the actual action. Let's just add a line here, which, where player blue's doing, passing the action. All right, so we expect the score to be 10 because our chosen action is, yep, worth 10 points. And we are expecting the client orders to be equal to brews left. Yeah, okay, so I need to add a check for, and normally I would do like separate unit tests for all of these, but this being a contest and all that, time is of the essence and readability not so much. All right, so we want a game that actually we have access to the player's traits, so I guess I don't really need to grab it from this. Although it'd be a better test if I do. Players, and we're dealing with player ID. Why did I choose to do it that way? I don't know. Play ID blue, and we're interested in its inventory. Right, so we're going to need to this needs to be here, this needs to be there. I want to separate that with a line. That's our expected, basically. But I have to do that before the action because otherwise the brews list changes, and that's a convenient way to do it right now. Okay, so we are going to add we're going to add a, I guess, inventory. This, which is ingredients, and we're expecting to have what? I guess I don't need the full class for that. I can just, yeah, I can just have the tuple. Let's do that. We want to find all the way to n. Delete that. Replace that with this. And okay, so we're starting. Our blue player has 2 as inventory. We're applying the chosen action, which has a delta of -1. So we're expecting that our new inventory will have 1. And what's the other? 0, so no change there. So 2. And then -2, so that should be 0. And then 0, that should be 2. All right, so that's what we're expecting our inventory to be once the action's been applied. So I can just jump to 9, get to the end. We're expecting it to equal. And actually, I'm going to need to do inventory, yeah. We just need to do this dot tuple. Okay, so that's not working, and it's not working because I didn't implement that yet. So let's get back to the code and add that here. Does it make sense to do that first? We're updating the score. We're moving the client order. Yeah, let's do it first in the, oops, like that. Okay, so this dot state dot players player ID dot inventory dot, and this is, I've got this nice function here, add. I had a hard time naming this thing. It basically adds two sets of ingredients together. Add, oh, but it doesn't do it. It doesn't mutate, it returns a. Maybe I should have another one that's called apply that actually mutates the original one. This would return a new ingredients class, yes, object. It would be more convenient and more performant since I am wanting to mutate the inventory to have something else that we could call apply, which would basically be the same thing as our add, but would mutate inventory. So let's do that. And now let's do action.delta. And that should be it. All we need to do now is apply, implement it. Do we have, where do I have this? I've got this in the, all right, let's try this. We're looking for ingredients. Yep, that's it. There we go. And so basically I can copy this. And yeah, let's copy that. And oops, let's paste it here. Let's change the name to apply. Apply the other ingredients. Cool. Now we're not returning. We're going to be. So I need. Okay, I can get rid of this line, and this line, and basically I can change all the, yeah, okay, cool. Let's try this. Let's try to flex our Vim muscles. So I'm looking for this, right? Now I can do, oh, what was it? Change, oh man, I've got it somewhere, not too far. I've got to try using those, otherwise I will never remember them. Vim, let's bring that over here. You guys can see what I'm doing. Vim multi-cursor, you don't need it. I remember that article. This guy, what is it? What is it? GN, right. GN. So if I get back here, crap. Let's just go back to our next match was here. Cool. So if I do change G and then N, right, and I can change that to plus equal, and then if I just do period, yeah, there you go. Okay. Oh, I also need to get rid of those commas at the end. So let's try that again. Comma, enter. Now I want to delete it, so delete GN, and I can just go boom, boom, boom. There we go. Okay. And that's it. I can just do this. It'll add the semicolon for us. Now, okay, I'm no longer expecting a return, so this will change to just void. Cool. And as we can see already, we've got our green little dots on the left showing that we've got coverage, and the tests that cover those lines are actually passing. Let's add a line here. Let's get back to the bottom of our file. Let's go take a look at our tests. And here we go. Good. Okay. So let's get back here. I think that's it for apply brew action. We're changing the inventory of the player. We're adding to its score. We are removing the client order from the client order list. I think that's it. All right, so next action we're going to tackle is, I guess, the casting of potions, or spells, should I say. Let's get back in here. Oops, not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. Case, action type, that cast. Right, now we're going to go with this, apply, cast action, which is not implemented yet, player ID, action, yep, that's good, and break. All right. I'm not exactly doing TDD. I'm writing my functions first and testing them after, but well, a little bit of both, as you probably saw. Let's do this. Apply, cast action, takes player ID of type player ID, and an action of type action. Whoa! All right, let's try this. Boom. All right, cool. Okay. and void that. All right, so first thing that we need to do is, I guess let's start with applying this to the to the inventory, right? Yes, which will basically be the same. Is it going to be the same thing? It will be the same thing because we're dealing with a delta again. Oh, that's great. Cool. Very simple. Now, it doesn't affect the state. It does affect the list of spells that we have at our disposition. Where am I keeping that? I'm guessing on the player class. I don't remember implementing that. Let's see. Player ID. Oops. Come on. Okay. Spells. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. And spells is a list of action. Okay. So I probably want, right, I'm going to be doing some kind of a find to look at the spell and mark it as no longer castable. But that's really something that should live on the player class at this point. I should just be able to do like what should I call this? I should call this like make spell exhaust spell, I think is the exhaust spell. And then I can just take the no, I hate when it does that. Oh. Let's see. We search for the H and then delete. So exhaust spell, right? Exhaust, I just have to not press on there, enter. Exhaust spell, it's going to take a spell ID. So basically the action ID. We're gonna find it that way. And that's all I would normally do. So let's go implement that in our player class. Switch to normal mode, change files. Try to keep this in alphabetical order, just because. Exhaust spell takes a spell ID. Or should I just call it ID? Let's just call ID. This is number. Not returning anything from this function. Okay. Let's see. Take my list of spells. Find returns the value. That's what we want. I mean, I could use some sort of a map, but that's just no. Yeah, let's just use find. And our predicate is going to be, all right, this is the spell. And we're looking for a spell ID that is equal to the ID we passed in as a parameter. Yep, and that should give us what we want. Let's get back here and just save that to a variable, although I don't need to do that really. Let's just keep it simple. Less characters. Let's code golf this thing. Dot castable. Right, because it could potentially return undefined if I don't find it. I should take for granted that I will find it. There is no good reason that I would pass in a spell ID that is not actually part of. Yeah, that's fine. So castable is now going to be set to false if we're exhausting it, right? Okay, yeah, of course it's going to complain if I look at, oh, not what I wanted to do. Let's see. Assignment expression may not be optional property, obviously, right? And okay, so I'm not gonna have a choice, but well, I could do this. Yeah, let's just do that. We're gonna change our question mark to a exclamation mark. There we go. Exclamation mark basically tells the TypeScript compiler, I know what I'm doing. I know this is never going to be returning undefined, although the function signature says that it could. All right, so there we go. So that should work. That should take care of that. Simple as that, yes. Now let's get back to our engine code. And yep, so that's good. All right, so what else do we need to do when we're casting? We're updating the inventory. We're marking the spell as exhausted. Do we have any score to update? We don't. Nothing happens to the general list of client orders. So I think that's all we need to do. Let's make a test for that. And we can probably, yeah, I'm just going to write this from scratch. Let's call this game not apply cast action. Bum, bum. Okay. I'm gonna need, do I need to set all this up? I do, so you know what? I'm gonna copy some of that. This, yeah, I'm just gonna change that. That I can change to our list of spells. That'll, actually I can copy all of that. This is pretty much what I want, so yeah, okay. So yank, let's go back down here and paste. Oops. This is, there we go. So that's fine. Chosen action, we need to change that to cast. Okay. The action, right. We can just leave that that way. This should be set to true. It's castable at the moment. Yep. So I guess let's change that to true. Doesn't make a difference because we're not validating anything. Let's just rename that to spells. And all of these need to change. So let's try, actually I should have done that. Let's try our search thing again. So we're looking for brew. Cool, we found it. And once we found it, we want to change G. Crap, what was it? N? Yeah, okay. And we're changing it to cast. Cast. Like that. And now I should be able to do this. Ha ha ha. I have the power. These should also all be, it doesn't make a difference. Okay. Let's rename this to spells left. Actually, no. Come to think of it, that's not the check that we're going to need to make. I can get rid of that. Inventory, though, I will need, and we're keeping that, so that's good. That's good. That's good. Apply, we're changing that to apply cast action. So that's good. And the score, we don't need to test for that to make a difference. We're checking that the client, no, we're not checking that, but we will check that. Let's see. Game state client order, so no, this needs to be game state players. I really should have just saved the, well, doesn't matter. No. Blue. And we're checking that spells. And we're checking that our particular spell, which is indexed 0 and 2, is now, and we're checking specifically that the castable is now falsy, whereas it was true. That's basically all we need to check. So to be falsy, don't need that, so delete. Okay, cool. This here we're checking the inventory. We already had that, so that's cool. Okay, it's a property castable of undefined. So that's a problem. I chose an action has a ID of 10. It should find it, yet it does not. Why? Well, let's find out. So this is Wallaby's debugger, which is really cool, but a little finicky. I don't always get it to do what I want to do. But let's try it. So let's go in there. Inventory is not the one we're looking for. This is what we're looking for here. All right, so now see, that's my problem. Sometimes I don't. Okay, ID 10, cool. And if I just do step over. Okay, still showing this. Spells. It's showing spells as empty. That's our problem. Why is spell empty? Are we not supplying a list of spells to our... We are supplying a list of spells. Oh no, we're not. We are not. Let me see. This is it here. This is wrong. This was the client order. So this needs to go. Which is delete like that. We also delete this. I can just pass. Crap. Let's see. I want to get back there. No, no, that's not it. Yes. Okay. Just pass in an empty array for that. We don't care about the client orders, but we do care about supplying spells to our blue player. So let's select those two lines, remove them, and paste them here. Maybe just add one line here. And then we can pass in the list of spells to the blue player right here. Oops. Spells. I'm gonna need to add that back in. There we go. Okay. So that doesn't seem to have fixed it. Why? Let's debug again. Oh, I was still in debug mode, I guess. Let's go back in there. We don't care about that. We care about this. And let's get in there. ID should be 10, yes. Can I find the spells? Spells is still empty. Okay. I am passing in the spells here. Am I somehow getting rid of them? No. Passing the player here, game state, play actions, player. All right, let's do some real debugging here. Let's put a breakpoint here. Right. Yep. All right. So I'm actually going to run the test in debug mode. Oh, wow. Cool. That's new. That's interesting. Type cannot set property castable if undefined. Yeah, why are you still showing that? Am I somehow still in debug mode? There's something wonky going on. Let's just do this then. Reload. Oh, maybe that was the problem. Lobby's updating and will be started automatically when the update is complete. I'm very glad. Now let's do tests. There we go. Okay. Please don't blow up. Okay, it's working. Good. All right, so ID 10. Good. Our spells are empty. Yeah. The heck, man. What the heck? Okay. So let's let's actually put a breakpoint. I guess here. There's probably something really obvious and dumb that I'm not seeing, as is often the case. All right, let's get in there. Yeah, don't care about that. Care about this. All right, my spells are there. Okay. My spells are there. Boom. Boom. We're back here. If I take a look at blue, it does have the spells. All right, now if I jump over, because I don't care about that, don't care about that yet. Let's take a look at the state. State has the players. This is player blue. And it's got the spells. Yes. Okay. And then we're passing the state to the game. Now we're applying the cast action for player ID blue. Wait, did I somehow invert the order? Oh, this might be a problem. Okay. Player ID. Where do I put this thing? Oh, I've got red first. I got red set as 0. Well, that could be my problem. Hey man, how you doing? Joe Vitor 0606. Okay, so that's dumb. I guess none of my tests were affected by that little stupid error until now. But what we want to do is change this. Let's see. Good way to do this would be like that. Nope. I want to delete this. No, that's not going to work. So I need to select this all the way to this. Then I want to delete it and paste it here. Yeah, that didn't work. Not successful at all. So let's just do it the hard way. That, and I think we've got it in this test here too. Just vibing, finally managed to crack Wood 1. Cool, good stuff, man. I'm still in Wood 1. You're using C++ for the first time. Congrats. Trying to keep it so my code is reusable for the next league. And so far it's working. Awesome. That's always good. That is always good. Right now I'm probably going to implement some sort of Monte Carlo tree search. So I'm basically building a simulation of the entire game engine locally. Hey, Vladinson. Are you competing or are you a dev for CodinGame? Yeah, no, I'm competing. I'm competing, although it doesn't look like it at the moment. It just looks like I'm actually building the game, but that's essentially what I'm doing. Uh, what was I doing? Inverting this. Okay, so if so we're getting rid of this, and we're going to be doing this here. Red, blue, and now our test pass. Yay! That was a dumb mistake, like I said. Okay, cool. Exit the debugger. Let's get back here. So what are we doing next? Where were we at? Oh my God, why does it look like that? I just started and still using the ID from the browser and you have more files. I think I will give up. Don't give up. What are you talking about, man? Why does it look like that? Because I'm using VS Code instead of the built-in CodinGame ID. You definitely don't need to do this. Absolutely. JoeAvatar006 is absolutely right. Yep. You can get some people just like some people that make it to legend, I'm pretty sure, just use the CodinGame ID. That's quite all right if that's what you want to do. I'm I'm coding in TypeScript, but I'm submitting my code as JavaScript. So what I do is I use Webpack to just basically bundle it into JavaScript, and then I've got the here. Let me show you. I've got this little thing set up here. Use an external editor, which allows you to tell CodinGame, to track, to watch a certain file and update itself automatically. So I have a build script that basically Webpack that'll build this file here, main.js. So CodinGame just watches that file and updates itself automatically whenever I push. The good thing about CodinGame is that they give all the tools in the site and you just need to know how to use those. So if you're willing to put the time in, you can do it. It just looks hard, maybe because I don't know or use TypeScript. Yeah, maybe. I mean, a lot of people, like you can use an external IDE, even if you're not doing TypeScript. I have a friend that's doing it in C Sharp, and he's using Visual Studio. He's got, I think, a NuGet package that basically takes a solution and concatenates it into a single file. Also, it's because it's someone else's spaghetti. Totally, yeah. That is my spaghetti. But I prefer spaghetti over a few files than spaghetti into a 600 to 2,000 line file. If it was your code, you know exactly what was going on. Eh. It's my code, and I'm not sure I know exactly what's going on. Yeah. That's how easy the first one was, but on the second one, you really get in the competition, have to remake a lot. I will finish the second one, can't think of third. I'm guessing you're talking about the leagues. It does get progressively harder. There's more rules that are being added. Don't scare the newbie. It's all super easy. You can make it to legend like that. You totally don't need to take a week off to code 24/7 to do it. You can just do a little hour here and there after work. Yes. Sometimes you don't know WTF your code is doing. Sometimes, yeah. Try most of the time. Maybe it's just me. As long as we're having fun, right? Okay, so I think we're good for apply cast action. So we've got brew, we've got cast. What else do I have set up here? Well, so far I'm still in Wood League 1, so all I need to add now are rest and wait, I think. We have a list of, where's that enum? There it is. Opponent cast. Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need to apply that. Yeah, so rest and wait. Those will be easy. Like that. Come on. Okay. Case. Action type. No, type. Dot rest. Let's not apply. Rest action. All I really need here is the player ID. There's no actual action to pass, or is there? Yeah, I guess so. It's going to be supplied some. Let's think about this. Yes, because we're passing in an action type res, right? It's kind of like a command, basically, command object. So we all following the same interface. My bot just finished destroying Wood 1. Cool. Now it's going to destroy my brain while I make it work for bronze. Yep, it might. All right. Doing my best to look at the chat as I'm doing this. Don't be afraid to ask again if you asked me something and I didn't see. Apply rest action. Yes, let's do that. Takes player ID. Okay, I knew it was going to be worth it. The client order rupees changed and the repeatable thing changed. Yeah. I guess we're going to see that once I finish this and get into the next league, which might be a while yet. But my hope is that I'll have a good foundation to build on and can quickly iterate after that. Yep. We're not returning anything from that. Oops. Okay, so we're basically just, when we're resting, we are replenishing, I don't know how to describe what we're doing, but all our spells are going to be castable again. Rehydrating, I don't know. And we're going to use a function that's going to be living on the player again. So we had exhaust spell, so I guess we're going to call it replenish spell. Ugh, I don't know. Let's see what do they call it. It's probably some sort of word they're using for that. Refresh all previously cast spells. So let's call it refresh spell. I want to select this all the way up to the H. Well, that was not at all what I wanted to do. So let's try that again. This all the way to the H, yes, and we want to change that to refresh. Spell learning, yeah. That's going to be something interesting. Not there yet, but I did read about it. Yeah, figuring out which spells are worth learning, which is why I'm thinking that my Monte Carlo tree search algorithm could be a good solution to that. Tell me about that. Please let me live in the present. Yeah. Yep. All right, let's do this. I'll declare method refresh spell, which is, a nice kind of shortcut, but look at what, I guess that's the language server, I would say, does, and I find that so dumb, so annoying. You'll see when I get to the definition, which is here. It puts it right at the top inside your class. Like, I don't know anyone that puts their functions or methods right at the top of the class, right? Above the constructor, above the whatever variables, class variables you might have. Not in TypeScript, anyway. I have never seen anyone do it that way. So they should at least put it below the constructor. So now I gotta do this. I don't know, like that. Cut this, and we want it. Like I would like it to be at the end, like after all the methods. I already have that in there, but anyways. So let's paste it here. Refresh spell. It should be refresh spells, so let's rename that. Okay. And let's thinking more simple, maybe something along the lines of the spell makes getting the order I'm targeting faster, so I learn it. Or I learn a variety of spells that are cost effective. Right, and then don't learn anymore. I've seen some players where what they do is just learn all the spells at the very beginning. That's all they do. They learn all the spells. They don't brew anything. They don't cast any spells. They just learn all of them. I don't know if that's the best strategy. Might be. We'll find out when I get there. Okay, let's just type this. We are using TypeScript. Yep. Okay. So now we're going to take our spells. We're going to, I think I'm going to use a map for this. Do I want to? Do I want to do that or just iterate through them? Might just iterate through them. Yep. So for each, I guess. For each. Thank you. For each spell, we want to turn the spell.castable to true. Simple as that. Cool. Let's get back to here. Is there anything else that happens when we're resting? Oh, I don't even need the action, do I? It's only being used for my switch statement, so I can remove this here. Yep. Imagine working so hard for a strategy and you fail in arena because it was bad. Imagine, I don't have to imagine. Happens all the time. I think they are into something by learning at the strat, but you don't need to learn all. If you can write a code to target certain spells that are good and learn those, that might be good. Yes. Yes. Happens all the time, mate. Yes, that's mostly what it is, actually. Especially once you get a little higher in the leagues. Like every time you push, there's like a 50% chance that you're gonna, actually go down in ranking. Well, maybe not that bad, but it happens. Yeah, that moment when. Okay. Um, so we changed that, so I guess I can. Oops. How does it work again? Nope. Yep. Okay. And let's delete all of that. And the last one we have to do, I'm not going to test that because what I just did, apply rest action, because again, lazy. Yeah, you can put your bot against someone else's bot. You can also put your bot against your bot in the arena, which can be really useful to see if your bot is better than the previous version. Action type dot wait. And that, I guess, do we even need to do anything with that? If we're waiting, we're not changing the state at all of the player in any way, shape, or form, not its score. So I could just basically, if I get a wait action, I can just ignore it. For now, anyways. At this point, just nothing happens. Okay. So I think we're done with apply action. I get the formation on their IDE. That's why I want an external one, but I don't have the libraries installed in VS Code. Well, what are you coding in? What language? Oh, right, you did say C++. Um, I think it has good support for C++, actually. I don't think you need to install like a bunch of different things. There's this one here, and I think you're pretty much ready to go with that. I used this here for debugging. So I think those two, the C, C++, and code LLDB, might be all you need to get going in VS Code. I don't code in C++. I have those because sometimes, actually, I have those because when I do Rust, they are useful for debugging. It doesn't work as you want. Oh, sorry. I can't really help you there because like I said, I'm not really knowledgeable when it comes to C++. All right. So apply action is ready. We've got apply action. We've got get valid action. Z. Now we need something to actually like once we've applied the actions of both players, skip to the next turn, I guess. Like do whatever needs to be done to move on to the next turn. So probably If you started with Java, C Sharp, or any of the non-dynamic ones, do you work in dev or something, school? You can learn pretty much any high-level language. Yeah. Right. I don't know if you're asking me. I work as a developer. Uh, Full stack-ish web developer. Which would explain why I'm used to TypeScript and not C++. I code in C Sharp as well, .NET. I've dabbled with Rust just for fun. I don't use it for work. Do you get bored after a time? I mean, you're still working after work, so I don't get bored. I love it. I mean, sometimes the stuff you could work on at work is not like super interesting, but um, often enough, yeah, that it's interesting. And then you can do stuff like this on your own time, which helps you somewhat with your coding at work, and your coding at work helps you somewhat with whatever fun stuff you do at home too. There's a synergy there. All right, we're gonna call this process turn, I guess. And when we're going to be processing a turn, what do we need to do when we're going to be processing a turn? Now I'm wondering, should I call the apply action first, then do process turn? Or should I make the apply action part of process turn? Find examples of what you do as a dev. I don't know really how to place my knowledge regarding the work part of programming. I mean, I know everything from school, but I don't know the outside world. Yeah, sure. Examples of what you do as a dev. Well, examples of what I work on as a dev, or like you mean like the day-to-day actions involved in web development. If you want an idea of what I do as a developer, just take any web application you can think of, and that's pretty much what I do. So software as a service, like applications where you pay every month to get a service. So I build that. I build and I maintain that. You don't know when you'll be good enough to get yourself hired. Just try to get hired. I mean, if you've got some coding experience, you've done some tutorials, and build a little portfolio of sample applications with the code on GitHub. Make sure it's all nice and clean, and start applying for internships or junior dev positions. There's a bunch of articles on that. Just Google is your friend, man. You'll find tons of stuff on how to get started as a developer, how to get hired as a junior developer. Even your question, like, how do I know if I'm good enough to just type that in Google? You'll get like tons of stuff, videos and articles. And so you're in high school, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the best way to know if you're good enough. Just start applying. 11th grade, so you're pretty close to being able to work full time if you want to. If I don't know if you were planning to continue with schooling or not. Either way, you can find work in this field. I don't know how it is in your country. Right. Well, I'm in Canada, so we have primary school up until grade 6. And then, and it actually varies province to province. I'm in Quebec and it's a bit different. Then you go to high school. I guess you have junior high for 2 years. So that would be grade 7, grade 8. And then you've got like high school for 3 years. So that would be 9, 10, 11. And then you go on to college. And college in Quebec is not university. There's a step before university where you can do 2 or 3 years um, as a preparation for university or some sort of technical degree. Um, and then you go on to university for usually 3 years, a bachelor. Um, okay, I think I'm going to keep those independent, and I'll always be able to shove it in there if I need to afterwards. So let's go on the basis that process turn is going to be called after the actions have been applied, and it's just a kind of a cleanup step to update the part of the states that aren't directly affected by applying the actions, such as whoa, Vim, such as replenish client orders. Anything else we need to do right now? Let's your grade translates to middle school. Doesn't exist here in Brazil, so I always screw up when translating school years into English. Ensino fundamental, which is how we call ninth grade here, is middle school. I don't even know what middle school is. I've heard, I don't know what it, yeah. See, our school system here is a little different in Quebec than what it is in the United States and even the rest of Canada, because we're influenced by the French system. All right. So this is one thing that we need to update. We need to update the list of customer orders. This doesn't change at the moment, so I don't have anything special to do. This we don't have to deal with yet. The inventory is being taken care of right at the action, at the moment we apply the action. The same thing with the score in terms of when we're applying brew actions. So really the only thing I can, oh, this is interesting. All I'm doing is moving the mouse and that's interesting. Yep, up, 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 up. I'm not even like it's not playing, but that's a cool little feature. Um, yep, okay. Yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of is making sure that we update the client order list so that it's always full. All right. So I guess we're at that step where I need to take a look at how they do it. ZenHub extension has a pending update. Please save your work and refresh the page. All right, I'll do that. Always fun. Now you have a demonstration of what it is to look at other people's code, like, and be lost. The way you don't understand what I'm doing. Now I got to figure out what's going on with their referee code. Deliveries, add deck deliveries dot poll. Okay. Deliveries, new tome spells. So deliveries, I think, are customer orders that we're talking about here. Delivery goal 6. Deliver goal 3. Okay, now I think deliveries, that's just them tracking how many potions you've brewed. They could have commented the code. Yeah, I guess. Although if you write clean code with variables that are named properly and encapsulate your stuff in functions, you don't need all that much commenting. Okay, so yeah, it is. Deliveries, see how delivery goal is 3. I'm in wood 1. That's when the game ends. Once a player has 3 client orders that are fulfilled, I guess that's being bumped up to 6 in bronze. Okay, so we're not looking for deliveries, then it's collections, shuffle, deck, tome, deck deliveries. It might be. It might be deliveries, I'm not sure. They have new deliveries. If active tome, there's no active tome in our case. What function am I in? In it. Okay, so I'm looking for something that's like update or get score of, get spell type. There's different spell types. Learn, brew, cast. I guess they call it a spell. I call it an action. Interesting. Check spell action type. So you can tell, right? This is similar to the stuff I'm doing. Perform game update. All right, so that would be probably similar to my apply action or process game turn. Player get action. Yep, okay. If action is spell, get spell by ID is present. Check spell action type, blah, blah, blah. Game summary manager, add player spell learn. So we don't have to worry about that right now because we're not in bronze yet. Delivery completion, do delivery. So that's the equivalent of my apply brew action, I guess. So we might have to take a look at do delivery. Add tooltip, don't care about that. Do player spell, nope. Do reset, game summary, add player reset action. We might have to take a look at that. Add player invalid action. Right, see, that's what I was talking about. Like, I'm not doing any validation. They are, but that's cool. Let's take a look at do delivery. This is on line 547 in the current file. Looks like it. Player, delivery spell. Okay, can deliver. Ingredient type count, get inventory, add the delta, right? That's pretty much what I do. Delivery completion, new delivery completion. Ah, okay, so they've got that as a class. That's delivered, add delivery. What is P? P is the player, right? Add score. Okay, do that. Event data. I'll get. Oh, that's one thing I didn't think about. Oh, it's a good thing I'm looking at this. I'm not tracking. The game ends when there's 3 deliveries, so I need to track how many deliveries were made by each player. I would have thought about that next when I was going to implement the check for if the game is over, but that's a good reminder. Add the score. Event data dot delivery. E is your event. I guess they're throwing an event or something. Viewer. Oh, it's okay. That's for the viewer. Don't care about that. Okay, so I think this. What do they do with delivered dot add? Okay, that's just the list. What is delivered? Where is delivered? I guess it's an instance variable in the class, in the game class. Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat here. You have TypeScript option already. Why can't you use that? Oh yeah, you do. I mean, he's doing it. Should work like that. Shouldn't. God. My bot can beat the default bronze bot about 60% of the time without using any of the new mechanics. That is a good sign. Yeah, that is a good sign. I can't remember which challenge it was, but there is one where I think I made it all the way from Wood 1, and then I pushed my bot to the arena, and it shot through it shot through bronze right into silver. Silver was open, obviously. So yeah, if you code it in the way that it doesn't crash because of new rules that are being introduced, and depending on the game, sometimes there's just no getting around it, but it can happen. Right, so it's not obvious to me here how they actually go about adding new spells, client orders, I call them. And that might be because that's not where they do it. Add player add delivery. So why don't you use TypeScript from their ID? Why don't I do that? Because I would need to work in one file, and I hate doing that. It just drives me nuts. I like to have my stuff split up. It's the main reason, really. But also, as you can see, the tooling is great. I was able to debug my code and step through it. You can't do that if you're coding in the browser's IDE, right? There's a bunch of little extensions and tools that you get once you work in an IDE that you're familiar with that make it a lot more fun. I can also, like, I'm setting this up so that I'll have the actual replication of the game on my computer. I'll be able to, if I want to, write some cool visualizations. I can turn it into an actual human player game if I wanted to. But really, mainly the thing that I get to do is run simulations, a lot of simulations, very quickly. Whereas when you're in the IDE, all you can do is just like play next, play next, play next. Looks at 300 lines plus bot. 300 is, wow, if you've got your entire bot that's just in 300 lines, that's great. Um, I think C++ code might be a little bit more concise, and it depends on your style too. Like I kind of lean towards object-oriented programming, so more classes, more indirection. It all translates to more lines of code, but usually a little easier to reason about and to find stuff. Why do you like live streaming while coding? I don't know, it's fun. It's a fun experience. I wouldn't do it 24/7. I'm not super productive when I try to code and live stream at the same time. I wouldn't get anything done if I did that all the time, but it's a fun experience. You get to chat with other programmers, coders, developers. You get to learn stuff. Like sometimes I'll be going about coding and doing something, and someone that's like way better than me will be in the chat and go like, "Hey, why don't you do it that way?" And I'm like, "Oh, pff, mind blown! Yeah, what a great idea!" So it's fun. Also, you've got people that are less experienced than you are, and you get to teach them stuff, which is fun as well, right? Yeah, C++ structs. Yeah, yeah. Which is basically, I guess, if you're coding in TypeScript or JavaScript, would be the equivalent of just like plain object, and not nearly the same thing, you know, below the surface. But eh, is it though? A struct is not the same as a class. There are some distinctions, aren't there? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, because I'm used to C sharp, and in C sharp, structs aren't exactly the same thing as classes. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Classes are usually like basically bundling uh, data and functionality together, and structs, it's just like a data structure basically, right? Just storing data. Just the data part doesn't mean like it can still have a type, but I. Right. So, oh yeah, where was I? All over the place here. I'm still trying to find out how they're adding um, client orders, what the algorithm they're using is to determine, like the payout and the cost. So I don't think it's in this one. I'm going to go back up to where was it called? I think this was it. Perform probably one of those. Actual reset, maybe game summary, add player reset action, player invalid action. Oh, learned spell, delivery completion. Bonus still complete get index. Bonus accuracy minus. Okay. They're removing it. Deck deliveries. Poll deliveries. Add new delivery. Okay, I think we're getting close here. Deliveries. Add new deliveries. So I think this is it. This would be it. Deck.deliveries.poll. Let's take a look at that. Deck happens to be, what is deck? What is deck? Deck is an instance variable, maybe. Deck. Okay, deck of type deck. Let's go check this out. Oh, it's hard-coded. Well, well, well. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, this makes it even more. This makes it even better for Monte Carlo tree search if it's not purely random. Do I participate in the Google Jam? Nope, never did. Give link to the Google Jam. Okay, wait a minute. Didn't we have like a poll function on that deck? I thought we did. So this is good to know. Public deck. Tome deliveries. That's our constructor, right? Oh, I'm missing stuff. Is it just, no, okay. Let's see. All right, let's get back to where we were. Which was around here. I think. Like, see, at work, this would never fly. Like a 100-something line function. It's just, look at this. That's a sure sign that like your function's doing way too many things and you've got like way too many levels of abstractions. But if, else, if. Delivered. I think we're okay. This was it here. No, a little lower maybe. I lost it. Guess I'll just do a search. No. Finish faster. Do shiny code. Finish faster. Yeah, that's often the case. Yeah. But it's important to care about the quality of your code, especially if you're going to maintain it. Like for us doing the contest, like it doesn't matter. Like speed is everything, right? It doesn't matter as much, I guess. But you know, if you're going to have to maintain your code for a while, you should care about it being readable and you know, following some of the generally accepted best practices in the industry. Yeah, what was it called? Like deck dot poll, deck dot deliveries dot. No, there's no. I'll just check for poll. I remember there was poll in there. Oh, I guess that was a typo or something. And this, where am I here? That's still the setup, right? But still. Oh, yeah, this is Java, isn't it? So I guess deliveries is a list. A poll is probably a built-in. So Java list poll. What does that do? That's what we're looking for. Yeah. Retrieves and removes the head, first element of the list. Ah! So it's not random at all? Really? It's deterministic? Completely? No. Really? That could be. It just makes my idea of going with a Monte Carlo tree search even more interesting. Well, that's not a bad thing necessarily, right? It makes certain strategies more viable and others less. But yeah, see, um, we've got these two lists. So the tome for the spells that you can learn and the deliveries, the customer orders. And they're generated in order, right? They're added in order. And then let's go back to, because there's always the possibility that they shuffle the array, the list at some point. Um, although I didn't see that. Is there a built-in list shuffle function in Java? I suspect there might be one. Yeah, conveniently called shuffle, right? So let's see if they do that. At some point, it would be in the initialization, I guess. In it. All right, you know what? Let's just look for a shuffle. I'm too far into rewrite. Besides, I think I will learn more doing it in the generalized way. Yes. Maybe. What was it? Shuffle? Shuffle, yeah. Aha! That would have been too good to be true. Yeah. So they do shuffle them. All right, so it's at least that, but we know there's a finite number of them. They're not generated randomly. We know that once you see one of the customer orders or spells, you're not going to see another one like it because it's popped off that collection. So it makes sense in that case to track. Oh, that's interesting. That is very interesting. So, yeah. Although I guess most games won't go that far into, right? Like the game is over after 6 deliveries. So there's not much value, I would say, in tracking that. But it might be like once you really need an edge. Anyways, something to think about. But all right, so I want to replicate what they are doing in my code. Basically, what I need to do is look. So first thing, I'm gonna go silent now. Gonna start working on bronze. All right, man. No problem. Yeah, check in about 25 minutes. I actually, in 25 minutes, I won't be on this stream anymore. I'm going to be in a few minutes. What time is it? 11:45. So yeah, at around noon, one of my friends is starting its stream of the CodinGame challenge. I'm gonna rate him, so you guys can keep watching, and I'm also gonna join him on Skype, and we're going to be working on his code. But I'll be assisting, I guess. I don't know if I'll be of any assistance. He's quite good. But, you know, it's always fun to kind of rubber duck your stuff. Awesome. All right, man. I am streaming Monday to Friday for the duration of the contest at this very same time, 10 in the morning to noon, my time, anyways, which is Montreal time. Hey, cool. Thanks for the follow. Yeah. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is check if we don't have enough orders. So this dot state dot client orders dot length is smaller than 5. If it is, then we need to deal with it. And the way to deal with it is, I guess we should basically do the same thing they do. Have a deck of all possible client orders, shuffle it, and just pop one off. You know. I wish there was a shuffle function built in JavaScript. That's the thing about JavaScript, TypeScript. It's a cool little language, and there's a lot you can do just because it runs everywhere, and the tooling is great, and it's, you know, it's a runtime. You don't need to compile it. But the standard library, ugh, it's just, yeah, it's missing a lot of stuff. Okay. So I guess we're going to, do I want a deck class? Do I care about having a deck class? Not really. I don't think so. Should I use an array or a set? They're using a list. Let's go back to the deck class. Where was it? Deck. Deck is basically just a wrapper for those two lists. I wonder, now I was pretty quick about saying that there's no duplication, but I don't know for sure that that's the case. It does look like they're all different at first glance, but that's not a very scientific way of doing it. 0302 2022. No, they all seem a bit different. Oh, and you know what? Let's see. Okay, that's the payout. That's the price, so I guess they are all distinct. Because even if some had the same ingredients, if they have a different payout, then essentially they're different. Yeah, sure looks that way. You can tell they they started off real neat, boop, 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 and then at some point things got hectic. They had to move fast, and like they just kept adding at the bottom in no particular order. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna use an array just because it'll be easier. to shuffle them, I think, if we use an array, which we're going to have to implement ourselves. Although I think I might have already done that somewhere. If I look at my old code, some previous contests or whatever. Okay, but for now, let's just add to our, go back to the keyboard. If I'm looking for, let's say this state, yep. I could simply add, does it make sense to have this part of the state? It is kind of part of the state, isn't it? It is, it is, it is. Huh. All right, let's plug it in right here. We're going to call this, see, I already have a client orders. I guess deck makes sense, or client order deck. Ugh, you know what? I'm just going to do what they did. I'm just going to do exactly what they did. And I'm just going to copy their code. It's really easy to copy JavaScript, Java code into TypeScript. It's similar syntax. Identical, but similar. Boop, 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 boop. Copy. And I guess we'll make a new file for that. Just going to call this deck. And we're going to paste this in here. I'm going to try anyways. Paste, yes. Okay. So there are no, what do you call those? Access modifiers on classes in TypeScript. That's cool. We're going to need to change the typing. This will go away. Typing is going to come here. Actually, I don't need to do that. Let's just... Yeah, no, you know what? It'll be good to type it. So it's going to be an array of... Well, we don't really care about the tome right now. Let's leave that for later. But we do care about delivery spell, which are basically just actions. I can just use actions. So I want to select this. No, that didn't work. Let's try again. V. I want to get all the way to that. Yes. Delete. 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 There we go. Deliveries, which is type of view. Use CodinGame for other things too. Can you find more games like this? Yep, I do. There are tons of other bot challenges like this on the site, and there's also just like regular puzzles. You can also do, what do they call those? Not Code Wars. Clash of Code, which is basically like a 15-minute little challenge with a bunch of other people at the same time, and it's like whoever finds the solutions the fastest, or the solution that uses the least amount of characters. So it's like code golfing, but with a time constraint. Okay, so action. So that's going to be a list of action. We need to import it. Yep. And then we can just do all this. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. There we go. Okay, now this is going to be a bit more of a pain. Okay, so first of all, this is our constructor in TypeScript. We don't name our constructors with the name of the class. We just call them constructor. So we're going to replace this with constructor. Thank you. Now all of that I can and I will comment out. Oh, that's not at all what I wanted to do. Because we're not using that yet, so why bother? And I think I can do, what's the special key for that? This, there we go, that works. And now, okay, this is going to be a bit more of a pain. I need to add this in front of each one of those. Okay, VS Code has a shortcut for that. And don't use it often. Add cursor. Cursor above, below, Control Alt, down arrow. Let's try that. Control Alt, down arrow. Oh, that would have been too easy. Why isn't it working? No. Huh. Probably because of Vim. There must be some kind of conflict between what I'm doing in Vim. Multi-cursor. Control Alt up arrow, Control Alt down arrow. Yeah, it should be working, but it's not because of Vim. And there's no doubt a way to do this in Vim as well. Let's think about this. I think there's a code block concept of code blocks in Vim. And what is that? How does it work? Multi-cursor, consecutive. Go into visual block mode and select text using motions. GB adds an additional cursor. This command puts you in visual mode. In effect, it selects. I need to see examples of that. Well, GB adds a cursor. Just seems like visual mode to me. I don't see any difference. Otherwise, if I do it that way, no, that's going to take forever. T, D, T, E, right. If I do, okay, if I do search for DELIVRIS, if I do that, it finds it. And then I do just, oh man, this. If I do that, oh, that would have been too good to be true. Okay. So let's try that again. Like this. What I basically want to do is add this in front of it. How can I do that? Well, I could do it that way. It's not the right way, but let's do that. Okay, and now I can actually, oh, I gotta change that too. Wait, you know what? Backspace, backspace. Okay, here's how I'm gonna do it. So search for deliveries dot add, right? And then, okay, and then change GN, and now I'm gonna call this dot deliveries dot push, and then I could do this. Oh, there you go. I don't know if this is the right way to do it. Oh, I could have used a number in front of that, but to tell it to do it this many times. But this works. Okay. Oops. Did I just delete something? I don't think so. 1113. Yeah, no, okay, we're good. 1113 was the last one, I think. All right, folks, it is now noon. I will take a quick look to see if my friend has started streaming. Not yet, apparently, unless he didn't think of putting CodinGame in his stream title. Let's just go take a look on his page. How do I just go home? Go home. No, that's not it. Back to Twitch. Yes.
The world we inhabit is
Ads.
things are never as clear as we would wish.
Your uncle was a spy.
Oh no, my uncle is a spy. Yes, skip, please.
As an agent.
How do I do that?
Are you kidding me? He's bright, he's determined, and questions everything, but he can be impulsive.
Oh, okay. It looks like yeah, he's on. So I'm going to be rating him, and I will be joining him with Skype. So you guys can keep watching there. So I'm just going to get out of there. Like this. He should show up on this page here, though. It might take a few minutes before they refresh that thing. Doing an early check-in. I spent most of the time planning. Cool. So I'm about to raid my friend here and join him right after. So thanks for tuning in, guys. See you on the other side. If I get this right. Yep. Okay. Rating our Dallas. Only code I actually wrote was to add support to recastable spells. Good. That's great. I'm not even there yet. I'm not even in bronze yet. By the time I get to bronze, I'll have my very own version of the game, but and then I'll need to update it with all the new rules. That'll be interesting. So I guess there's a countdown we gotta wait for. That was not hard. I just had to add 3 lines to the old code. The old cold. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes those new rules are pretty easy to implement. Other times they can require a little bit of refactoring depending on how you did things. I love it when I write actually maintainable code. Yes, it does feel good. It does feel good. But we don't tend to do a lot of that when, but well, personally, I don't when I do these challenges because time is a constraint you have to take into account, and also because you have to optimize your code so that it runs really fast. Okay, so I think we're on the other side.
raid with a few viewers, so welcome. He's been working on this as well. He's probably a little bit further ahead than I am. But I'm just going over real quick a review of what this fall challenge is before I get started and show
Sorry.
what my code looks like. I'm hoping